Oh,
Wonder if they have it.
Yeah,
Jackie's report.
1 minute.
I was looking through here to see if it could be under
Traffic
something.
offense.
some of his classes.
That would be
are
it.
like
One.
when he's lecturing, them kids are, man.
Traffic stop, 23.
I see it.
I'm just wondering, because people are complaining that we don't arrest for speeding, and
Oh, I see them, even that little alley behind my house to shortcut. Phew.
I couldn't believe they took pictures of our work session. Oh, I know. I looked at the president, my brother Ray called and said, Dave, you're in the paper. I said, what did I do? He said, you're just in a picture. I said, pictures of a work session?
what? Yeah. You see,
And they're all going to be on the front page now.
Hey, Jack, be careful.
We'll call the meeting to order and we'll stand and pledge to the flag of the United States. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The recording clerk will report that all of the council members are here. We have no reason to have an executive session. We will have the minutes of the February 27th meeting. Motion to accept.
You have that motion, sir?
Second?
I'll second.
Discussion by anyone? Corrections? Roll call vote.
Diane,
Yes,
Rebecca,
yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Mary Lou,
Yes.
David.
Yes.
The next presentation will be made by Tim Detweiler, the superintendent of Madison Plains Schools. This is a presentation to the council, and it does not fall under the 3-minute rule. But Tim, we know you'll keep it close to that.
I will. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for letting me present tonight. It's nice to be back in front of council and see some familiar faces and some faces I haven't seen for a while. Mrs. Stuyvesant, nice seeing you.
Same here, Tim.
The reason why I'm here tonight is I try to get down as regular as I can to all the villages and to the townships and to speak to them about what's going on in the school. A lot of times, as I just heard from Ms. Little, you feel detached from the school district. So I'm going to make sure I get out there and spread what's going on in the school. The good, the bad, and everything. To start off with, enrollment. I talked to this council a couple years ago about our common goals. One of the common goals we share is to increase population. In your case, it's village council residents. In my case, it's student enrollment. They go hand in hand. We're working together on that. School does well, you do well, we both win. So that goal is still in place. We are succeeding. We have leveled off. We had over 20 years of straight decline in enrollment. The last 2 years, it's been level, about 1,320 students. So that's good news. A good school system makes for good villages, good townships, good places to live. So that is good news. One thing I want to report out on was the Eagle Internship Program. The Eagle Internship, you've heard of work release programs, things like that. This is an internship program for our students that are juniors or seniors that have met their graduation requirements or are on track to meet them. And they want to get out in the real world and work a little bit and see what they want to do before they go spend money on colleges or career tech schools. And so we partnered with several businesses in the area. We've got Stanley up in London, Madison Health in London, and Caheen. We have an agreement with Caheen that they will take on, they told us they had 26 openings, they take 26 students. I said, no, we can't provide 26 students. However, we hope to get up to 5 students in Caheen this next school year. Right now, we have 1 in each location. The students are able to go in and say, I'm interested in accounting, or I'm interested in engineering, for example. in Caheen or Stanley or Madison Hill. We'll place them in that area to shadow and work and to see if that's what they really want to do once they graduate. So it's a great program that we've started this year. It's a pilot. Next year we hope to have 10 students involved in it. So that's good news for as far as partnerships go. Speaking of partnerships, one thing I'm very happy with is to be a member of your Mount Sterling Chamber of Commerce. I get down to as many meetings as I can, and I enjoy the time there. We have a lot of good conversation. I get ideas from them. Hopefully I share a few that they can use at those meetings. We have some things that we're working on now that I'm working on my side. One of those is a development group, and I'll just throw it out there as that. At the last meeting I talked about it a little bit. It's one of the things I'm talking to all the local agencies about. I met with one of the commissioners to talk about it, and now I'm throwing it out to the council. I know development of your village is one of your primary goals. You have lots of ideas that you've thrown around. The school district is no different. Again, if you develop, then we develop. You grow, we grow. So the idea that is being kicked around is having all of the southern half of Madison County, that being the township trustees, the villages, the school, all work together to develop southern Madison County. One of the reasons it came about is I was at a meeting with all the superintendents in the county, and we had a nice presentation made by the Madison Chamber of Commerce, and they do it, the Madison County. They do a real nice job of developing the county, except for the southern half. And it's not that we're being neglected, I just don't think we've come together as a group and demanded that we be looked at. One of the things I pointed out was we have the 71 corridor that's not developed, that borders our southern, that is our southern border. And I think they're looking at it now, especially since we're trying to get people working together. The next steps that will happen is you'll hear that we will be trying to get a group of us together to sit down and talk. Is there anything we want to do as next steps? Do we want to formalize a group that works on development of the southern half of the county? When I say southern half, you got South Solon, Midway, Newport, down here in Mount Sterling, that should be talking. And so I hope that we can go to those next steps and get that done. So you'll hear more about that as we move along. As well, now, school finances. Everybody thinks, well, the only time you come out is when there's an issue with the schools. I can tell you in 2012, when I was the CFO for the schools, we did a 10-year financial plan, and we said in 2017, we're going to be in the red in general fund. And I know that the village understands that. You're working on some issues here. I've been watching that closely, and you're working very hard to take care of those problems, and I do appreciate that. What we've done since 2012, we've implemented several cost-saving measures that reduced our expenses, the consolidation of schools, retirement incentive plans, caps on our insurance increases, on our premiums. We've done all those type of things and more. We've reduced our staff, we've reduced our administration. What that has ended up doing is pushing that deficit in 2017 that we projected to May of 2019. Okay? Now it sounds like, oh, well, you did a good job, you pushed that out. Well, that's just over 20 months away. And in the school world, that's right around the corner. So, the reason why I bring it to your attention, you'll hear the school talking a lot now out about our financial situation and what our next steps will be. I don't want anybody to be surprised. We're meeting tomorrow night, special board meeting to discuss it. Our board meeting next week is a regular meeting. We'll also be discussing what our next steps will be. We look for community input on what you think we should do. We have impact meetings with the Madison Plains Advisory Council. We meet Wednesday night of this week at 6 o'clock till 7:30 sharp. We go 90 minutes. The whole discussion will be on finances, the school's financial situation. So I welcome feedback from folks on what they think we should and can do. Okay? And then, last but not least, our graduation ceremony this year is May the 19th. And I'd like to issue a formal invitation to all of you, but in particular, Mayor Anderson, President Pro Tem Stuyvesant Ratliff. I'd love to have you guys there, and of course, Mr. Martin. We will have a place set aside, not in the back, but up front, for you guys to sit and be a part of our program. So I'd love to have you there, May the 19th. And with that, if you have any questions, I'm happy to field any questions or let you move right on with your meeting.
Tim, I heard about the school board having a thing for the veterans now where they're willing to give them a diploma where they had to drop out of school for the services. That in effect now, or?
Yeah, actually, a good question. We've had that for a number of years, and all schools have. It's a responsibility of the local school. If you do have veterans that did not get their degree, that you can put that degree, you can bestow that degree upon them now. We've had that for several years. It's just now, actually, there's a local board member, Mark Mason, who really is aware of those folks that don't have their degrees that should have them, and he's trying to get them all in line. So he's done a real good job with that.
I think that's a good thing, because there was a World War II veteran I know from Southern Ohio, and he was 91 and finally got his diploma. So a lot of them gentlemen had to drop out to defend the country, so that's a great thing.
And we're happy and proud to do that. So. Any other questions? Thank you very much. If you have any questions or concerns from the school, please call me.
Thank you, Tim.
Thanks.
Each of you have received a proclamation. We were approached about designating. This proclamation says, whereas athletic trainers have a long history of providing quality health care for athletes and those engaged in physical activity based on specific tasks, knowledge, and skills acquired through their nationally regulated educational process, and whereas athletic trainers provide prevention of injuries, recognition, evaluation, and aggressive treatment, rehabilitation, health care administration, education guidance, and the National Athletic Trainers Association represents and supports 44,000 members of the athletic training profession employed in many settings, including professional sports, college and universities, high schools, clinics, and hospitals, corporate and industrial settings, performing arts, military branches. So therefore, we are honoring and proclaiming the month of March as National Athletic Training Month, not only in Mount Sterling and Madison County, Ohio, but I think, Tim, you came at the right time, so we take that back. When we served on the board, Mary Lou and I served on the Madison Plains board, the athletic trainers were just coming into being, and now they've come a long way. So, Tim, you might take one of these resolutions back with you, and I want this proclamation entered into the minutes. All right, we're ready for the village administrator.
All right, thank you. No community service this run around. I think we'll pick up some of that when we get a bit better weather. We got a couple people hanging waiting, so we'll get there. Wastewater treatment plant, those repairs are just about finished. The heaters are in and working. The rails and ladders and platforms are all in place, so we'll get the OSHA folks out of our hair on access to the top of those tanks with safety. It's significantly safer up there now. Then with the evaporator system to take the steam out of the building, we actually turned it on for the first time today, and it looked like Cargill down there because we were actually using the press and it was pulling a lot of steam out, and it was a cold day, so that's working fine. A little bit more work on wiring to do with that, but we're getting there. Let's see, environment in the building is much improved. The smell should be a little bit less. I'll take anyone down that wants to take a tour while we're cooking our product, if you're interested. Bring Febreze. And we're continuing to move forward on a plan to keep the biosolids under control and moved out. So that one's working along quite well. The new water plant, the roof is on, the siding's underway. The building's supposed to be closed in by the end of March. That should be windows, doors, all the outside siding, all the knee walls, all of that should be done by the end of March. That's the plan. Interior walls are being assembled currently. The building's actually starting to take shape in terms of rooms and offices and production area and doors, windows, all that. So You're always welcome to pop out. They'll give you a hard hat to run around, go inside anytime you want and take a look. If you want to go out with anybody that wants to go, we're out there every Thursday for production or construction meetings, so that's a good time because there's a lot of folks touring around. Permanent electric service should be in the next week or so, with the expected delivery date still in August. We think we're going to hit the button to start it somewhere around the late part of July. We have to run it for a month. We have to make water, we have to adjust the water, we'll be wasting the water, and I don't mean that in a wasteful manner. It's not like thousands of millions of gallons, but whatever we make we can't use, so it'll just be released back out into the waste system. So, but that's what EPA says, we have to actually run that and adjust everything before we actually put the water into the system. So that's part of the delivery. Nothing on the current water supply systems, running fine. Streets and signs, as soon as the weather breaks the next couple weeks, we have a lot of pothole filling to do. We can't get cold patch from the plant quite yet because they're not quite making it, and it does have to be a little bit warmer for that to actually work well. A lot of holes around the village we're going to fill. We've got a list going right now. We're going to hit those as quick as we can as soon as the weather breaks. Clevenger Road repairs are advertised. Bids are being opened March 20th at the Commissioner's office. Street signs have been advertised, bid opening to be scheduled. And we talked to the engineer today about the Cliffview water mitigation system. ODOT said we could not hook into the 48-inch tile. That, funny enough, the village actually put in, and then the state took it over. Some kind of a domain issue in the right-of-way, so they own the tile, and they said we are not allowed to tap into it. So we have a catch basin down near the output, the effluent output of our waste plant. We're going to tap into that. We think that particular catch basin may be compromised anyway, possibly broken. So we're going to take the opportunity to repair that while we have it open and tap this other line into it so we can get rid of that water. We'll pick up a few catch basins here and there, clean the water off the hill, clean the water out of the pond at the back of Cliffview, and we have like maybe just one more check or two, and then as soon as with the weather, actually weather is not permitting, it's just we're going to do it as soon as the engineer says he's ready. So we're ready to go on that one. That's all I have right now. Pending your questions, that's in my report.
John, would the village have a say, though, over ODOT, since you guys are the ones that put it in?
I'll let you ask ODOT that.
Okay, okay, I just wondered, you know.
No, we don't really.
Okay.
Even in spite of us putting it in, when 56 was adjusted a number of years ago, that was nearer the right-of-way. When they moved 56 over a little bit and rebuilt the bridge over Deer Creek, that right-of-way stayed wide.
Okay.
So that pipe falls in their right-of-way.
So it's in their zone.
A certain distance up the hill, there's galvanized between the concrete, and then there's plastic going into the creek. The portion that's compromised is the galvanized. It's been in there like 30 years. So if we find that it's compromised, we're going to have to fix it when we get in there. But that's like Ken Koppus from the engineer said today. He said materials are really small, and we're already in the hole, so we'll just fix it if we're there. Sir.
Our records show that we, as a village, did not put the tile in.
The 48-inch
Mr.
tile?
Jacobs put it in by his talent.
Which tile are you talking
Part of the
about?
village, he installed it,
Along 56?
yes. Because
Okay.
at the same time, he went back up this way
Mm-hmm.
and put in more tile there where the double wide is, and filled that in
Right.
with the tiles. His tiles, his labor.
Okay.
So we had no part of it.
In spite of that, we still don't own it, unfortunately. Yeah, ODOT is claiming ownership. And so we're going to go back to ODOT, and a couple of spots that are breaking in, we're going to ask them politely to repair them then. Because we would have, if they said it's okay, go ahead, we would have repaired it. But since ODOT is claiming it, I can't break into it and fix it. So
Right.
we're going to request that they fix a couple spots that are actually undercutting. Because
I
we
think
think
we-
the galvanized portion of it is actually broken.
I think we can take it to a certain point on our own.
Right.
And we'll be fine.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay, any other questions for John? Jack, Sheriff's Department report?
report other than what you received.
Any questions of Jack about this report?
Well, I do, just a quick one here. You know, there've been a lot of comments on Facebook, imagine that. But a lot of comments about excessive speeding in different parts of the village and also outside, specifically in the village, New Street, and then there's a lot of complaints about Shada Lane and things of that nature, and in other places as well. But in looking at your report, I'm just trying to get a sense here. Traffic stops, 23, another traffic offense, 1. Do these statistics include the speeding violations?
No, they just include traffic stops. It doesn't tell you what they stopped them for.
So there is no breakout of actual speeding violations?
I would say 90% of them are probably speeding.
Are probably speed? So traffic stop being 23, you're saying 90% of them would be for speed?
I'm estimating yes and yes
Okay, for a 4-week range.
for a month.
Well, okay. All right. I just thought it would be interesting to talk about the number of speeding tickets, since a lot of people seem to be complaining that nobody is being stopped for speed.
See, they need to call us instead of putting it on Facebook. We don't read Facebook. We answer complaints. You have a comment, Bobby?
What?
Do you have a comment?
I mean, I like you sitting up here better, so I just.
Well, if Max would keep his camera to himself, I would. But people need to contact the sheriff's office when it's going on. If, you know, we can be on one side of town, they can see us on that side of town, they go to the other side of town and start speeding. It happens all the time, right? You can attest to that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one officer down here, 24 hours, he can't be there. Now, as far as speeding, yes, there is speeding going on in town. And we do our best to try to stop it.
Okay. Law Director?
Thank you, Mayor. I have been asked by Mr. Anderson to briefly address the issue regarding rules of council. Rules of council are drafted for the simple purpose to give you a baseline, a minimum standard to go by when you're conducting village business as council. You cannot waive any of the Ohio Revised Code requirements that may exist, or give up any powers that may exist that are in the Ohio Revised Code by passing rules of council. Tonight, before the council meeting, about 5 minutes before the council meeting, I was asked to comment about the 2013 versus the 2014 rules of council. The only difference between the two rules are in twofold. Number one, the mayor at the time decided that he wanted the power to appoint members of the committees, i.e. Finance Committee. However, when the rules of council became before council, Mrs. Rice objected to that and was allowed to go forward with the council establishing those committees. The second issue that is in the 2013 versus the 2014 rules of council was with regard to what takes place after council has approved a contract. And basically what it said is the difference was that once council approves a contract or approves any kind of business within the village, that the administration then would make sure that it was properly implemented. Now, that's the simple degree that I observed in 5 minutes tonight with regards to the rules of council. If any of the council members have any additional information regarding that, I certainly would appreciate it.
Well, I don't have anything to necessarily add to that, but I do certainly, since you have specified two things here that differentiate the 2013 rules from the 2014 rules, then I would like to know how on earth does that become something else in the newspaper? Specifically, you know, the way that the newspaper had it, council had an outrageously loose operation, specifically highlighting a 2014 rule change which gave Johnson vast powers over the village's finances. So how are those two things, how do they square with that comment? That the judge was highlighting, this is according to the newspaper article, highlighting the judge making a comment about the loose operation, quote, from the newspaper article, highlighting a 2014 rule change which gave Johnson vast powers over the village finances. And then Mr. Max here attended our finance committee meeting last Tuesday, and he said leaders were taken aback by Costello's remarks. Well, this is why we were taken aback, because what you're saying tonight, these two items from 13 to 14, in no way could be interpolated or even inferred, even if you want to pull alternative facts out of your whatever. Those two things that our solicitor just specified in no way gave Johnson vast powers over the village finances. And nobody being on council at that time, be they tenured or newbies, gave Johnson vast powers over the village's finances. The article said, Mr. Max's story, leaders were taken aback by Costello's remarks, particularly that they had voted, and I emphasize here that they had voted for Johnson to have free rein over the village's finances and credit cards. In no way, shape, or form did village council in 14, not in 14, not in 13, not in 15, 16's rules are good for the next 2 years, 16, 17, and 18. Nowhere do we give the village administrator free rein over the village's finances and credit cards. And I want this record corrected in the media. I want the record connected by those who have slandered many members of this council on Facebook, accusing us of money laundering and God knows what else. Because these remarks are slanderous, they're inaccurate, they're not factual. So until we can all start sticking to the damn facts, this is what we're going to have. A lot of mumbo jumbo, not based on in reality at all. Joe Johnson was charged with more than 27 counts of felonious behavior. He was charged with 27 felony counts because he was doing things illegally, not with anyone's acquiescence. Nobody aided and abetted him. Nobody here that I know of, that I personally know of, could be considered accessories to his crimes. And yet, this is what's spilling over into the media and on Facebook. And I, for one, am outraged by it. I'm insulted by it. I am very offended. And I know others here are offended as well. And so I think we need to start cleaning up some of this rubbish, because I personally have, I'm over the top on this. So we need to start, when we start talking about its and omissions and insertions and this and that, You know, let's refer back and start using pronouns like it and it did this. Where's the antecedent? Where's the noun that all this stuff goes back to? There's been a lot of ambiguities and things blown out of context and misinterpreted and extrapolated and everything else out of all this stuff. And look, start sticking to the damn facts.
Diane and I don't always agree on different things, but this one time, Diane, you hit it right on the mark. So I agree with you.
You know, there's too much fake news going on nationally. You know, it's going on locally. I don't know if this is just the mindset anymore, but I can remember back in the day, and when journalism was a little purer, let me put it that way. You know, the who, what, where, when, why, and how. And boom, boom, boom. Let's fill in the blanks and not leave any room for misinterpretation or exaggeration, because it's not doing a service to public servants who have been doing their best and who certainly did not have any part. And I speak, maybe I should just speak for myself, but I'm going to tell you right now. If I had known Joe Johnson was committing felonies, you don't think I would have been calling that guy right there, our sheriff, and saying, you know what? This guy is committing felonies. He needs to be arrested.
Okay?
It was only after Joe resigned that our fiscal officer brought forward over 100 documents in her possession that clearly showed the trail of Joe's felonious behavior. And things
Okay.
went from there.
That was just a start.
All right,
And
thank
that
you.
was just a start.
We're going to proceed.
Okay, sorry, but
Good job,
Thank you, Diane.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you. Make note in the minutes that we're all in agreement with Diane, and thank her for her presentation. I worked several hours lining up those rules of council to find out where, and I found nothing. Yes, there were some omissions, but they were
they were
made
inconsequential.
for good reason.
I sat down today for several hours. 13, rules of procedure for 13, for 14, for 15. I mean, just looking, everywhere. What are they talking about? And
Yep. Okay.
there was no there with all of that. But
All right.
yet, everybody got put into a tailspin.
We'll go right on. Clerk of Council? Nothing? Finance? Rebecca?
Okay, I have a few things. First, I wanted to report on, we had a finance work session that was very productive last Tuesday. The work session really meant that all of council, if they wanted to be there, could, and so could members of the public, and we did have Max from the press there. The intention is just to keep all the communications open. You know, we've all heard things in the past about closed doors or whatever, and the past is just the past. We're doing things differently now. And so there were 4 different main areas that we covered. The first one had to do with our fiscal officer. As you know, that we've heard that she has submitted a resignation effective April 15th. And we discussed the necessity of accepting that resignation. And do I go ahead and make motion for that now?
Please, give me the motion.
Okay, so at this time, I'd like to motion to accept Cindy Miller's resignation effective April 15th, 2017.
So moved.
All right, I have a second.
I'll second.
Discussion. Now, she is not leaving on April the 15th, but she can. But she's willing to stay on as long as we need her until we get someone in place. she and I have interviewed about 4 people. We're finding they think it's an add, subtraction, multiply, divide job. What do you, budget? What is the budget? Appropriation, I have to work on an appropriation. So some things. And Tim, you're welcome to stay the whole evening. I do have a question to ask you. One lady applied for the job and she's never had any training on the UAN system. Another candidate lives quite a distance, Urbana. So these are the things we're looking for. We probably should have to put an ad in the Columbus Dispatch. See what we have.
I think that we should really definitely move on this, and let's decide
I
tonight
know.
that we need to advertise for this
Well, we have
position.
been working on it, but what we're having, but that, I was trying to save some dollars on advertising, but
Well, we're
we
gonna
don't
have
have any
to,
candidates.
we're gonna have to cast the net, and, you know, the Ohio Municipal League has a website.
Yeah, they've contacted them, we've contacted them, we've contacted the state auditors, they've given us some leads, but nothing,
But we haven't put anything actually in the newspaper
no, we haven't.
advertising for a
So-
fiscal officer, and I think that,
So we're going to, that's our next step
I
tomorrow.
mean,
Good.
Okay,
this
We
is,
have a
you know,
motion on
March
the floor
13th,
for
and she's
resignation.
getting done in
roll
April.
call vote, please.
Rebecca?
Yes?
Jim?
Yes.
Mary Lou?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
All right, next.
Okay, and so after discussing the fiscal officer, because we know how we need a strong candidate, Cindy has been so strong for us, and we need to keep that going. The second main point that we went over, it was pretty extensive as far as how to read the financial reports for the village. Cindy did the presentation. It was very detailed, and it was excellent. We have all the reports. We're going to be adding them to ones that we approve every council meeting. She went over how to read the bank reconciliations, for example, if you did not know how to read those, and the appropriation reports, et cetera. And it was a kind of mind-boggling at times, but a very, very good one, because we want everybody, or if anybody wants to request any of these reports, they are available. After that,
Can we
pardon?
put those on the website?
We could, I mean,
Question?
Yeah,
it's
Jack?
public information.
I'd love to.
He is
have that on
asking
the
if we could
website.
put the reports that we now receive as part of our packet onto our website. Appropriation status
can
and
be-
everything. And I
Yes,
could
they
get
can
you
be
those
put on
each
there.
time, so sure.
Got another job then, Jack. No problem.
And so as part of this also, if you notice in your packets tonight, you should have a copy of the payment listing, the receipt listing, the appropriation status, and the cash summary by fund. And I don't know if you've had a chance to look at them, but at this point, I would ask for a motion to approve the payment listing, receipt listing, appropriation status, and cash summary by fund.
All right. All of you have the status fund?
I'll give you a motion.
We have a second?
I'll second.
Question? Roll call vote.
Jim?
Yes.
Mary Lou?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Rebecca?
Yes?
So ordered. Next.
Okay, next. The bank reconciliation was really interesting because it has to do with comparing numbers from the UAN system and balancing it to the actual bank balances. And so what Cindy produces for us is called a reconciliation report. And one of the things that we're requiring is not only for everyone that would do a motion for this, but it requires every council member's signature saying that they have reviewed the reconciliation. If there was any big discrepancies, it would show up on something like this also. So at this time, I would like to motion to approve the February 2017 bank reconciliation. And the bank, it says the February bank reconciliation is reconciled with the same adjusting factors as we had in December of 2016.
Have a motion on the floor. Everyone understand the motion?
So moved.
I want a second.
Can you say that, please?
Discussion. Roll call vote.
Mary Lou,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Diane,
Yes.
Rebecca,
Yes?
Jim.
Yes. Now, our rules of council do not require us to have a roll call vote. So while I'm doing this, we're going to have a roll call vote. There will be no question.
Absolutely.
Whether you voted or you vote, we got it. Okay, continue.
Okay, so after going through all this, and like I said, all of this is just to make sure we have all the cash controls, everything in place where we are all looking at it. I like having the work sessions open to the public too, and Jack, if you can get these on the website, I think it's awesome. The next item, there were 4 main categories. We started to talk about the expenditures of the village. We know that the village took a hit. We're still determining how badly of a hit, especially given some of the loans that we have outstanding. So we started to talk about the expenditures of the village, but we realized that was going to be required really a whole meeting by itself. So what we decided to do is next Wednesday, a week from this Wednesday, March 22nd at 4 p.m., we are going to have another finance work session, meaning it's open to everybody. And the whole topic will be expenditures. We're going to take a look at things. Are there things that we can trim a little bit? Are there things we need to take a closer look at and come up with recommendations in order to use money really in the best capacity for the village? So I just wanted to announce that for everybody.
You have the date set?
It's Wednesday, March 22nd at 4 p.m. at Town Hall.
I'd like to add very quickly, if I could, Rebecca, that the reason why it seems like so much is being done just in the last 2 weeks is that Mount Sterling was never going to make it under the limbo poll until that sentence was announced.
Right.
And that has just happened within the last couple of weeks.
It was last week.
Now it's time. We really sewed it up tightly, the finances, as of
Right.
February 16. Tightened the hell out of them, pardon my French. But, and I'm still driving the same car. But as it goes, this isn't, oh my goodness, they're trying to make up and cover their, no, we didn't know where we were till 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And I would like to warn anybody, Max, you might put this in, no matter whether it's Council of London or Mount Sterling, you've got to know some things. You've got to be aware. And sometimes there's always going to be someone who's just a little more aware than you are. And that's how these things happen. But this finance committee, the finance committee we had in 2016, you would not believe how tight the vigilance is on the money. And no, we don't want the big TV. We don't want the cars. We don't want the tools. Get over that, too. I am so happy with where this finance committee knew for 2017 is going, because they inherited a crap pile. That's what they inherited. And with all the work it took in 2016, and now all the work that they've been able to only begin the last couple of weeks, I'm very proud of all of you that are on that.
Well, thank you.
Working on that.
And thanks for your diligence in getting a lot into place during 16.
Well, thank
because
you.
I could
Lord
give Mary
knows.
Lou a compliment. She is a warden. She comes to working hard. She'll cut up at times. When it comes to business, she works hard. And I got to admit, Rebecca, you're doing a fine job, too.
Oh,
as
thank
the
you.
chairperson. Doing a-
Okay.
And then the last,
Wait just a minute for me. On the Spank reconciliation, we are not broke. The UAN balance, which if had been done about 7 years ago, unbeknownst to us, they were holding the back. If that had been done at that time, I don't think we would be here sitting with the same forms in our hand.
Right.
I blame the state of Ohio on the audit for creating some of these problems. But enough said on that. We have enough trouble with the auditors, and our county auditor is no exception. We have waited almost 3 weeks to get a report from our county auditor, and today we still don't have it.
Right.
I'd like that to be in the paper too.
Multiple
And
requests
Tim,
for it.
as Madison Plains superintendent, you have an idea of what we're talking about. So, now, I'm going to give you the bank reconciliation, $1,220,256.27. That is the UAN balance, and that is also our adjusted balance. So, that I'm proud of. Mary, you can sign that one too. Okay, you're on again.
Okay, and then after we went through and decided we're going to do a separate meeting that I just mentioned, the last item that I just thought we needed to start discussing was, obviously, we are going to be in the process of taking on a whole lot of items that were collected from the criminal case involving Joe Johnson. These are items that are now going to be owned by the village, and hopefully will at least help to replace a lot of the money, or some of the money, stolen. And we've got into a discussion with that. I don't know if you wanted to elaborate on anything, John, about the process. Or Mark.
What will happen as soon as the conviction and the sentencing is journalized with the clerk of courts,
Okay,
which also carries with it the order for forfeiture for all the items, and puts them in our possession. It orders BMV to issue titles for the vehicles in the village's name so they could be liquidated. There's an entire storage facility full of items that the sheriff will sign off of, and we will sign onto his possession. We've cleaned one of our buildings completely out, washed the floor, dusted all the walls. And all the items are gonna be in that particular building. And then the plan is to inventory them, have them appraised, so we figure out a reasonable market value for them, with depreciations and conditional cost reductions and things of that nature. We then have to devise a method of liquidation. We have to look at the items and see if there's any logic in retaining any items that the village otherwise would have to buy, and you could save a great deal of money doing that. Those we can go through and talk about. Once that's all done, the sheriff has suggested a cost-saving factor of just putting a sale together where it's open to the public to just come and buy whatever.
like a
items
public
are there,
auction, or,
without using an auctioneer
Oh.
and losing 20% of whatever you would get. So let's say you picked up 300,000, you're gonna lose 60. So if you do it with a tag sale, with reasonable market value, no dickering, straight price, buy it or leave it, then your recovery amount is gonna be significantly greater. We've already had one offer on the house, so we may not
Really,
have to
already?
play with the house too much.
good.
We're going to file the deed here shortly with Jackson County, find out the condition of the house, determine whether there are any absolute need of repairs that have to be done. And once that deed is in, we talk to the people that are interested in the house. Mark and I are gonna have to figure out whether we get an appraisal on it, get a realtor's assessment, something of that nature to find out the right market value, see if that individual's okay with that market value. There may be a little lawyery dickering going on, that's normal.
Okay.
All that said, you take that money and throw it at your general fund, and with a couple of RETA deposits, you could probably have that fund neutralized and on the positive within a few months.
Isn't it true also that we have to wait at least the 30 days after the sentence for a plea
He does have
possibility?
an option for appeal for 30 days.
Right, so we can't be doing this
Until
now.
April 6th.
Right,
And we probably
Okay.
won't be ready until significantly after that anyway.
okay.
Okay. Anything else?
That should do it.
You've got all the reports in that you want to come in?
Yes.
One thing too, when it comes time to dispose of the property, with John and our solicitor and the council members, will have the input into this disposing of this property. We are very capable of doing it. Whether the public thinks they need the governor and the auditor of state and someone else to do it? Well, watch, we'll see. We'll show that we have the ability to take care of this, regardless of what you think. Okay, nothing more on finance, but we'll go to parks and festival.
That's me again. I don't know when the next, anybody know when the next festival meeting
March
is?
16th.
When is it?
This Thursday, 16th.
Oh, Thursday, it's,
Yeah,
okay.
6 o'clock at the community center.
But I wanted to say that we did get everything worked out. I don't know if you've seen it, but the James Cotton Football Camp is coming back. It's going to be during the festival, July 1st to Saturday over at Veterans Field. Jack has done a great job in designing it, exactly where it's going to be played. Great promotional materials are coming out, and all the people have to do is go to our website. There's an online form to fill out. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be, I'm really looking forward to it, and it's going to be during the festival. So it's something you might want to take a look at.
Okay, any questions, council?
Anything else, Jack?
Also on the festival, my brother John, he's sitting out there. We taped 4 commercials for the festival at WCHO Radio, and I'm glad to have my brother here. He came up from South Carolina. He thinks I lied about the weather, but I'm glad to have him here tonight.
Okay. One thing I would like to lift up back to finance. To date, we have received from Rita Income Tax $118,000 plus dollars compared to $106,000 plus dollars a year ago in 16. Note that. We're very proud of that too. Tri-County Fire Department report.
They had a meeting February 28th. They approved the minutes from the meeting. In January, they paid the bills. They're still discussing repairs on the truck at Clark's Lake because some of the parts are not available and will possibly have to be made. They hired 1 new volunteer firefighter and sending 3 firefighters for advanced training.
What, again, repeat the Clark's Lake.
They have a truck up there that the front brake system is getting bad on. The disc brake system is no longer available. So they're possibly going to have to see about having them made.
Okay. We don't have Coldwell anymore, do we?
Nope.
Okay. Council member have any questions? We'll go with Sterling Joint Ambulance District.
Shortest meeting I've ever been to in my life. We okayed the minutes, paid the bills, updated staff and supplies info. One of the vehicles is having some radiator issues cleared up, the old vehicle. Next meeting is April the 12th at 8 o'clock p.m., and it's always open to the public. We adjourned at 8:20.
Wow.
Okay. Questions for
short.
Mary Lou? Pleasant Township, how many meetings have they had?
We just had a meeting, okay, on March 6th, and that might have been shorter than yours. I'm not sure.
I want her place.
Not a whole lot went on. I mean, they paid the bills, they read the minutes from February 26th and approved those. They talked in just a general way about the millage for the township. They're at their 10 mil max. They did talk in a general way, though, only about levies that may or may not happen in other townships. Just a lot of general discussion. Communication from Mr. Prone on how they can pay or may not pay trustees' salaries. Again, general things. They're going to get some tires from Best One, $578 worth. 2 front tires on the tractor are going to be repaired. They dumped some salt, which, didn't they say they dumped the salt?
They took the salt off the truck. They may be putting it back on.
Yeah,
tonight.
that's what I mean. That's what they said, but, you know, here we go again. They talked about that, and they paid bills, and talked in a general way about some zoning complaints that are not under their purview, and they got referred to Dave Hughes in London. And that's all I can tell you.
Okay?
I'll tell you one thing, their meetings are a heck of a lot less interesting than ours are.
Aren't they though?
I mean, and
It's
I
like-
said that. I said, oh boy, your meetings are so calm compared to.
Has the cemetery board met? since we
They did not report anything about the board, cemetery.
Now,
They
it's my
did not on-
understanding too that the township trustees will not meet until, they're going into recess until September?
Madison County. The Pleasant Township trustees will continue to meet.
But the county doesn't.
County trustees will not be meeting.
Okay.
After
When I
April.
talked to him the other day, I didn't understand it.
No,
Okay. The cemetery board, find out, Diane, when they meet next, and that's on your plate to do.
well, you
I
know,
don't know. We'll
It's
find
really-
out for you.
They meet the second Monday of the month
At noon.
at noon at the house at the cemetery. I think that's what I was thinking it was Wednesday, but they said it was Monday.
Monday. They would have met today then. Okay. Thank you. Our next item is ordinance 17-2. This is the second reading, adopting procedures and methodologies for the payment of water and sewer bills. Motion to place this ordinance on the second reading.
You have that motion, sir.
I'll second.
Any discussion of this ordinance? This is to place it on the second reading, not to adopt it. This is placement there. Roll call vote.
David,
Yes.
Diane,
yes,
Rebecca,
Yes?
Jim,
Yes,
Mary Lou.
Yes.
Second reading passed. Ordinance 2017-4, an ordinance designating a downtown business district in the village of Mount Sterling and declaring, and we don't have to declare an emergency, but it is the second reading.
I'll give you that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion on this? Roll call vote for
Diane.
placing the second reading.
Diane,
yes,
Rebecca,
Yes?
Jim,
Yes,
Mary Lou.
Yes.
David.
Yes.
Roundtable ideas.
I'd like to compliment Tim for coming tonight because I think it's great for the school and the village to have communication. That way we can, if there's anything going on, Tim, I'd like to thank you again for coming out. And I think that's what we need, especially this, like you said, the southern part of the county. We seem like we get the low end of everything, but I appreciate you, Tim, coming.
Okay.
be careful going home. I don't know how the roads are. Are you going to London?
Myself,
Yeah.
5 miles up 56.
Okay, then, well, still be careful. Could
I'll
be
be
sick.
up 4 in the morning.
Well, yeah. I have a
Diane?
I have a question for Jackie in terms of the videotaping of our meetings have not appeared for quite some time that I've seen.
They're on there.
Yeah.
Every single one?
Yeah, the only one's not on there is when I wasn't here. But they're here.
Okay, because I saw
The
some.
last meeting's been on for,
So the one that you were not at was which one?
it was in February sometime. Was it
Okay.
February? Yeah, that's the only one that didn't get recorded because
Okay, but,
Bonnie knows how to do it now.
all right. And so all of the printed minutes are on there as well? Because when I got on there one day, I didn't see them for 2017, so maybe I just didn't see
Yeah,
them.
they're all on there.
They're all there.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay, just checking. And this one's being recorded too, right?
absolutely.
Okay. Just want to make sure we're all on candy camera, because when stuff's on video, it's very hard for people to misconstrue,
Yep.
because then you can just tell
All
them,
right.
hey.
Rebecca?
I don't have anything.
I'm Jim.
I have nothing.
Mary Lou, we've had a lot of dialogue tonight. I'm going to adjourn the meeting, and we're going to open up if you have addresses that you want to give to us. Meeting adjourned. Now I'll open it up if you have, come up, give your name and what you want to tell us. Don't be shy.
I would just like to see more stuff on the website.
It's all yours.
I need your guys' approval to put it on there.
Okay.
I want you guys to be as transparent as the residents need you to be.
Fine.
That way there's no question.
All right.
Good idea.
We'll declare the meeting adjourned then.
Oh, good.
This part. Adjourned.
Whatever, I told you.
I'll tell you this thing, it's so long.
It's like I said to Cindy, or both of you, I was at
I hope so, I hope so.
cheating to let it out.
I'll tell you that.
No, but you're right. You know, you were absolutely right, and the way comments and everything's been misconstrued. And
Things just spun out of control.
Out of a
it did, and I think you set the record straight very well, nicely.
I understand that.
And sensationalism at our cost.
No, and I was gonna throw Costello under the bus too, but I didn't use his name. But he's at fault.
absolutely. So
He's
big
probably
time.
running, in November. I'll bet you.
Yeah, but still not at,
He's counting votes, I swear to God.
I know, but he's not,
6 council lady, 5 votes under the bus.
Nice rally through here. Covered up.
Covered up.
Haven't got it all yet. Yeah, I keep seeing her on their Facebook comment on some of the dogs. So I love to have one too.
Same here, Tim.
Just one will vote.
Well, it's because we haven't,
Like they've been, robbed, which they were. But don't do it. We'll get one of
such a responsibility. Exactly, and thrown us, no, it was not fair for all the hard work and public service, and what we've already overcome.
Quite fair, like the balance.
To begin with,
that's why I
because that
said
was
we've
like a
had good
huge
dogs from what they've had to do with us working
as to
on
when
it.
the alligator, when Joe was first arrested. We've come so far, but
That's why when I get one of mine from Madison County, out of the prison system.
Thanks to you and Booth, you do such a good job. I'm just speaking.
Oh, my.
Because that did allow for it. I'm telling you.
That's a pit bull.
You did an awesome job.
Is that what it is? Well, they're a hyper dog. They need another dog to play with
I didn't want
to
to
wear
bring
them
up
down.
Yeah.
last year, you kept saying, look at the rules, you gotta look at the rules of council. I looked, and that was where.
But that wasn't enough.
But you read it, but there was nothing, we do need for him to be more specific, but there was nothing, like what you said,
Oh,
nowhere
my.
did it say that Joe takes control.
We've got that cistern I want to close up. Beside, in the corner of the
So
house.
anyway.
Oh, I know.
Well, I got, I thought maybe they might have
He
some
was a felon.
leftover dirt out here. Well, I got a rock pile I can go get over by Sola.
They're gonna do it.
There has to be you because you're missing
I don't blame
We
you.
had that one out there at the farm. We had Eddie
There's
Mason.
your relationship, there has to be what you know.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
Now it's too wet, but I mean,
I didn't bring up that he
they've got a dump truck. I mean, if they want to dump a load nearby, I can fill it in. So they don't, I just need something. I can just
I'll
need
let the
rocks.
court decide.
You have to
What
look
his
at
life.
and that's what you have to look at is.
Yeah, I'll get you. Somebody rang my doorbell the other morning at 2:30 in the morning.
One name they never mentioned. They never
By the time I got up, got a house coat on, there wasn't nobody out. Which
when it came
figures.
to behind the door.
I can ask him later, whatever.
Didn't she?
I figure they'll have extra out there.
She did, I mean, everything so well.
I'm contemplating, if he fools around with our report, like he always has done, and screws it up, I'm going to talk to his boss and say, if you can't get somebody that can come down here and copy it and take notes the way it is, I don't want anybody.
Exactly. We don't need a little sensationalism going on when we're working hard
And he
for
screws it
everything
up.
else. Yeah, that's right.
We're on the bus anyway, but he just shifts it in gear.
We don't need that. Let's just,
No.
good, honest reporting. How about that for